Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to all 144 of you that are live with us at the moment. And if you're watching the replay back, please comment below replay so we know you've watched it back. My gosh, that's just jumped by 10 more people to 154. Well, hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my office here in Valencia Island, the European capital of Valencia Island in County Kerry. And I'm delighted to be broadcasting to all over the world. We're broadcasting to India, South Africa, Norway, and come on, the Lone Star State of Texas as well. Lovely to see somebody's tuning in from over there. So you're all very, very welcome. I'd like to start off and set the tone about somebody who is really, really important to all of us in our company, and it is you. So listen and pay attention. The one and only you. Every single blade of grass and every flake of snow is just a wee bit different. There's no two like, you know. From something small like grains of sand to each gigantic star, all were made with this in mind, to be just what they are. How foolish then to imitate, how useless to pretend, since each of us comes from a mind whose ideas never end. There'll only be just one of me to show what I can do. And you should likewise feel extremely proud that there is only one of you. And that is where all of this starts, with you, a wonderful, unlimited human being. And that's by an author called James T. Moore. And that's where it is going to start. From now on, I want to really help to introduce you to the most magnificent you. Our last session this week is called A New You. And that doesn't mean that you've got to let go of everything and say goodbye to all of the wonderful parts of you. But it's just about time to say goodbye to those doubtful parts, those worrying parts, those stressed out parts, those cycles of once I get going, it always seems to get back. And once I get a bit of money, it always seems to go. Never further below, never too far above, just staying at that level. I know what it's like to have a lot of stress and frustration and doubt, fear and worry, but also to know that there's more. I've been there, I've done that. I bought the t-shirt and then I probably had to trade it in to get some money for it. But so look, I tell you, we're going to have an amazing week together. These masterclasses that we do from time to time really make a big impact on people's lives. And a lot of people decide to go ahead and join our academy from being with us in the masterclass and feeling the energy that's created in this wonderful group with my extremely amazing team that work with me, and I'm very lucky to have them. So why would you and why should you listen to me this week? Okay, well, for many of you, I believe out of the 600 or 700 people we have in the group, a lot of you guys would know a little bit about myself or a little bit about what we do. A lot more of you would know my great mentor and friend, Bob Proctor. You'd know him from the movie The Secret. So I think with that association, you kind of have an idea of what we do a little bit. But I'd like you to just sit back and relax for a moment. I'm going to bring you up to speed a little bit about who I am, why I'm here in front of you today, why I'm presenting this masterclass, and how things have changed for me over the last number of years. Well, to start off, I go back to about 1993. I just made a decision that I wasn't going to be getting a couple of quid here and there from my mom or from my granny. So I'd hop on a bicycle and I'd cycle 18 miles to Waterville in the morning, and I'd wash saucepans all day in a big, very, very busy restaurant. And I loved it. I like 75 Irish pounds a week I used to earn. It was fantastic. And I'd cycle home and I'd lots of money, and I'd buy my own Nintendo games and buy my own Premier League jerseys and stuff that my friends didn't have that type of cash. And I loved it. I loved having my own money. By the time I went to college at 18, I probably had about 4,000 Irish pounds put away, which was pretty good for a guy my age. And then I messed around for a couple of years, and I, did a bit of college, did a bit of visiting bars just to hang out there and see what they were like and do the college thing. And then magic happened. I fell in love and I started going out with my girlfriend, who became my fiance, who became my wife. So 20 years ago, now I met my wife, June. And yeah, you started changing your lifestyle, and I started seeing that lovely 4,000 become 3,000, become 2,000. And we were traveling and I was buying her things and we were going out for dinners and all that stuff. So I kind of started finding myself for the first time at a kind of a zero level or thereabouts. And I really just got this kind of a silly idea that I would borrow money from the bank. I never even knew about interest. I didn't know anything. I remember ringing my brother, asking him to be a guarantor for a loan. I still didn't know anything about it. And he was like, why would you do that? You're going to have to pay them back more. And that was really the start of it. For the next 15 years, I always owed money to a bank or a credit union or a credit card company or something. But all the while, I had created businesses. I got married to June. We were going to have some children and stuff like that. So this was festering and this was bubbling up inside of me. And in the amazing book Think and Grow Rich, there's 6 chapters. Pardon me, there's a chapter called The 6 Ghosts of Fear, and one of those 6 ghosts of fear is about the fear of poverty. And in the fear of poverty, he goes on to say just how much this fear can really do a number on you. And I can read some of the symptoms, and I think you'll be able to relate to them as well. So he talks about how it. Let me just see 1 second. I gotta find this here. Oh shit. Bum, bum, bum. I just lost my page. I put that little red. Yeah. So he said that this fear paralyzes your ability to reason, that it destroys your imagination, it kills off your self-reliance, and it undermines your own enthusiasm. The fear of having like a negative money state, it can discourage your initiative because you get scared. If I try, what about if I try and fail? What about if it puts me into more debt? It leads to an uncertainty of one's purpose. My purpose became to get out of debt rather than to create a prosperous life. It made me procrastinate. It took away my enthusiasm for life. It made me feel like I had no self-control and that life was pretty much an impossibility. So I didn't know that until I started investing in myself coincidentally. And I started, or ironically, started spending money on personal development and investing in myself and working with people who helped me to get away from that fear and lack mentality and instead start thinking about a very abundant mentality. So moving on from there, my wife and I found ourselves in a situation where we had, probably 10 to 15,000 in debt. And next thing, we went for a drink one night in a beautiful place called Salt Hill in Galway. And she said to me, "You're going to be a dad." And I mean, I just felt like this duality of feeling so happy, excited. I mean, just amazing thing to be told. But I could also feel this extra pressure around my neck. Like, not only are you failing yourself and your family and this woman, you now have a child to fail as well. That's literally what I was listening with all the time. And this masterclass is called the Vibration and Attraction Masterclass. And we're going to get deep into the sciences of that over the coming few days, the coming few evenings. Now, listen, how could I be attracting anything good when I was listening to that inner monologue, that inner dialogue all of the time? You're failing her, you're failing your parents, you're such a waster. Look, every time I would check, there's a great guy I like to follow online, Les Brown, and he says, when you walk by, he said, when I used to walk by the ATMs, the alarm would go off. He was so broke. A lady says, I think it's a lady, says, "Hello from Salt Hill." Yeah, Anna, how's it going? Anna, June told me that news in front of the fireplace in O'Connor's pub. So that was where I got that news, and that's where I felt that pressure right there on my throat, on my neck. So I bottled it all up. I kept it to myself. You'll see on Friday when you're creating a new you, how you need to let go of deep-rooted fears. And I didn't really realize what anxiety was. You mightn't find it hard. You might find it hard to believe. I personally, I'd go back to about 5 years ago. If I registered for a masterclass and I started listening to a guy and he said, "This is how I was." And this year, since October the 1st last year to August the 1st this year, I run a company that turned over €1 million. You'd be like, I promise, I'd be like, "Oh, fuck this guy." And I turn off the camera or I put the way, because I wouldn't have been able to relate to me now back then. Like, absolutely impossible. But all I will say to you is that I'm not going to put a lot of hype in here and put a lot of stats and put a lot of, you can do it too. I'm just going to tell you, myself and my team, we do a great job with our clients in the academy. And we don't say, "Listen, do what we tell you to do." We just lead by example. We're going to tell you a lot of really good stories. You're going to meet a lot of amazing guests, a lot of people that helped me along the way, and they'll be able to tell you how they knew that this very broke, very scared man was going to end up where I am right now. So yeah, enjoy this week. And hopefully you'll be able to relate. You might be at different stages of your journey. Many of us are not in this kind of a desperation state that I was when I first started my journey with proper personal development, not just YouTube videos and books, but proper having a coach and having a like-minded group of people around me. I was very much in the desperation phase. I think a lot of you guys are in the inspiration phase. I think we seem to attract, like, based on the conversations that the success advisors are telling me, you're one fired up group of people, successful, confident, brave, like excited, looking to learn how to make this work. Excited that you're learning it from a group of people based in Ireland and maybe not overseas, and that type of thing. But let me roll on a little bit what happened. So Actually, do you know what? Let me take you back first of all. I want to show you something, just so you'll see that mean what I mean what I say. The next video you're going to see was taken in 2000 and the summer of 2010, when I really started to first deal with anxiety. I'm probably on average about 13 stone in weight. 12 and a half is a good one for me. 13 and a half is a bit too much. 13 is my average one. But in this one, I think I was gone way down to 10 or 11. So much so that I was in Wexford on a little holiday, and I was bouncing a football in Courtown Harbour, and the ring just flew off my finger. I'd lost so much weight, and I lost my wedding ring in the water there. But you're going to see skin and bones, not very well kept. And in this video, the whole way through this video, I remember this, and this was shared with me recently because it was a Facebook memory, and my wife shares it every year it comes around. And I said, please send that to me on Messenger. And I only remembered it this morning because I was kind of going over some notes. So I'd like to take you back to the time when I felt the pressure and it was never ending. And it was a constant in my mind, you're failing everyone. I'm putting on quite a show here. I'm playing music with my little daughter sitting on my knee. And I can see it. And for those of you who are closest to me, you'll see that I'm trying my best. I smile at one point and I can't even look at the camera. And now I can't keep away from the camera. But the confidence was gone. It was shattered, and I needed a lot of help. So let's have a little look at this guy from nearly 10 years ago now. Okay. Alrighty, I need to go in here and just do this. Oh. Okay, let me just see. I'm not sure if that's shared perfectly. Hang on. Give me one moment, please. I'll just make sure that is shared correctly. Sorry, guys. Thank you. I'll be right with you. Share my screen. Share screen. Share screen. Let's see. Does that pop up? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. It's just popping up now. Thank you for your feedback there. Somebody said they couldn't see it. I'm just sharing it now. It should be good. Give me 1 second. Thanks, guys. Yeah, here we go.
Bit of drums, please.
All right. So yeah, that's a little bit of what still goes on in our house. We that girl is called Layla, named after the Eric Clapton song. And oh yeah, thank you. One lady explained about the angry face. I was like, how can you be angry? What have I said? So I understand they're usually an accident, but thank you for explaining about the angry face. Yeah, so look, that was real life for me. I was putting on a show as much as I could, and then I would have difficult days. I'd be in my tracksuit pants and I'd be kind of sitting around, and that was just my wife putting on some music and putting my daughter up in my lap and just trying to get me going, get me fired up, get some energy going. So roll on a couple of years, I was in and out of, putting on a show for everybody when I was out around in public and when I was with my family or when I was with my wife's family. But then when I was on my own, you know, we used to watch box sets, or I'd be watching games, and the whole game would go by, and I'd not even remember what had happened. I was sitting on the couch biting my nails, really, really worried about everything. And there was one day, my brother had passed away, actually, and I often think it was like that. He grabbed me by the shoulders and flung me over to the island, because on the island was a red Dell laptop, and my daughter Layla, who you saw in the video, she was at creche, and I was taking care of my little son Dylan, and he was just crying and crying and crying. He was teething. He'd been a nappy rash. He was just crying, 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 and it was actually really starting to get to me, and I could feel the tension building up inside of me, kind of like you'd see on a very bad soap opera or something like that. The dad just loses it. And I don't know, I just didn't want to scare the little boy. I just was going to start crying. I didn't know what to do. And honestly, it just felt like divine intervention. I went over to the laptop, I lifted it up, I went onto YouTube, and I typed in positive mental attitude, and I clicked on enter. And when I did that, all these little thumbnail images popped up, lions roaring and bodybuilders and whatever. And for some reason, Bob Proctor popped up. And I clicked on it, and it was an old video from an old time. And it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But just like today, Bob was meant to be with us at 8 p.m. He can't make it, but I got a person to stand in and ask to help out. And she said, yes, of course I will. And then she contacted me yesterday to say something has occurred and I may not be able to make it tomorrow evening. And sure enough, she messaged me earlier on and said, I'm really sorry, I am not able to make it at 8 o'clock. I put in an affirmation that I shared with the group this week that Bob gave me, and I put it in, and I started just vacuuming the car because we took the kids to the beach yesterday, and I was listening to it. I wasn't going to let my vibration go down. It's day one of the masterclass. My vibration was up. I wasn't going to let my vibration go down. I was listening to a wonderful affirmation, thinking about an amazing masterclass, and the phone rings, and it's a gentleman called Arash Visagi. He's going to join us at 8 o'clock. And I'm telling you, you've got to be here for this interview. This guy is a global leader in personal development. You've got to sit and listen to him. He will get you, like, you're going to find it hard to sleep after listening to Arash. He's going to light a fire underneath everybody on this masterclass. But guys, I didn't know anything about vibration back then, but Bob spoke to my soul in that first video. My wife came home from Athenry, VEC. If anyone's living in Athenry, we have a few Galway people tuning in. And she walked over the humpback bridge and up to number 5 Lambert Court. And she walked in, and her husband was there, clean shaven. Dinner was made. It was like when Sally Field comes home that first night when Mrs. Doubtfire has moved in, and everything is beautiful. But yeah, I vacuumed up the house. I cleaned myself up. I made dinner. The kids were sitting down having dinner. I was like, right, I'm going. I'll be back later. She's like, where are you gone? What has gotten into you? I put in my iPhone earphones, and I was that guy. If you ever heard of this weirdo walking around Athenry throughout 2013, every night, rain, hail, sleet, or snow, that was me. I would walk around listening to Bob all of the time. I would walk all around Athenry town and village, listening to what Bob was talking about. And then I started making some inquiries. And in fact, Arash was one of the people that got on the phone with me. I filled out a form, and I'd like some help. So I tried to get on the phone, and they got on the phone with me, and they started talking about, multiple thousands to do the course and stuff like that. And I was like, what? I was like, are you crazy? I just couldn't. I was so shocked. I was reeling from it. I had a visceral reaction because remember, I had nothing but debt. Now I shouldn't say that. I had a wonderful, beautiful wife and 2 healthy children, but I was in harmony with debt and fear. Monetary debt and fear and lack of, and I'm useless anyway. How can I get there? So this pressure was mounting and mounting and mounting. So for 18 months, I said, these guys are there in reserve if I need them, but I have to make this work on my own. I cannot afford this stuff, but I don't want to work with anyone else as well, because I looked around for alternatives and I could feel nothing from the other people. I get to speak now at Bob's events. I'm, thanks be to God, turned out to be one of his top coaches. And I say that to people. I goes, you've got to connect with the people from the public like I was connected, because most people are scared to change. Most people are afraid. They think, what about if I invest and I can't get there? Or what about if I sign up and you guys forget about me and, you leave me in the lurch? It's like, you've got to treat people really well. And I got emotional one day on the stage, and I said, if I wasn't treated well by Arash and another gentleman called Chris and another lady called Eva, if these 3 people didn't take care of me in the way that they did, they all got on the phone with this very broke guy. See, I was ringing around lots of options to see could I get it cheaper, but I couldn't. I said, where would I be now? I'm very lucky to have helped hundreds of people to discover Bob's program here, Thinking into Results. And we've got some incredible testimonials. You'll hear them all week. We've got amazing clients. I'm sure many of you are watching with us along now. I know a lot of you registered for this masterclass. So I'm delighted that some of you are here, and feel free to comment in the chat if that's been your experience. So we do a great job. We really help people to find out how to make the law of attraction work for them once and for all. A kind of a taboo subject once upon a time, but not anymore. People are really talking about it a lot, and I see it in the GAA and the Premier League soccer and movies. You know, everyone talks about Jim Carrey's story of the 10 million and all that. So what started to happen was, it was the repetition. You see, it was the repetition that was getting me so far. And I would get on the call every few months. They're like, wow, you seem to have changed a lot, and how are you getting on? And my confidence had changed, my attitude had changed, and some of my habits had changed, but the outside results had not changed. And this was putting pressure back on me, but I wasn't reacting to the pressure. I was responding. It's like, okay, I still know I'm in a lot of debt, but I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. Now, it wasn't truthfully until eventually it came to a stage where the debt had risen to 35,000. And I was sitting in my granny's cottage over in the other side of the bridge in Valencia, over in Portmagee. And I'd gotten on a call with a lady called Eva, and she just said, look, you've spoken to my colleagues 18 months ago, 12 months ago, 6 months ago, nothing is changing. And I'm a clever guy, and I'm a hard bloody working guy. And I just said, yeah, but I'm going to get there. And she started to explain why you might, but if you want to guarantee, like, do you want to guarantee? Do you want a fast track? And I was like, yeah. Well, I guarantee you, if you work with Thinking into Results and you let me guide you through it, because you're coaching yourself right now, Declan. You're broke, you're scared, and a broke, scared man is coaching a broke, scared man. It's just not going to work. And I wish it would for you, but it doesn't. That's why it's not. So I just said to June, I went in, I goes, look, I've been talking. She goes, why don't you just do it already? And you see, I was thinking, I was holding this image of my wife in my subconscious mind that she's going to be cross, she's going to be angry, and that's not fair on her at all. The minute I went in with an open heart and said, I think I need to do this, like, it makes sense to me, but I keep trying on my own. And she's like, look, Dec, just flipping do it. So we had a few grand left on a credit card, a Mastercard credit card that she still has, same number. And I took out the last couple of grand in that, and I went to the credit union in Carsavine, and I got some money from them, God knows how. I suppose back in the day, it's like, you know, any chance, yeah, go on. And I got it, and I put it together, and I said, look, let's go. And I just started studying. And within weeks, and I'm not telling any word of a lie, right next door to, there's an off license in the middle of Carsavine, and right next door was my old acupuncture clinic. I was working as an acupuncturist at the time. And I went from earning probably maybe 400 a week, you know, it was 40 euros for a session. So maybe 12 or 13, maybe 15 acupuncture sessions a week. And then I had my rent and rates and taxes and all that stuff out of it. So 300 or 400 quid at the most was all I was earning. To going to a place where I said, if I have 5 clients a day, I'll get about close to 700 or 800 a week, and after my taxes, and that'll be a salary that'll match. My wife is a teacher, 10 years, you know, it'll be a good salary, and we're going to get this house. You see, the problem was I was working on a house for years. I was working on, okay, she's a teacher, I'm an acupuncturist, and we'll do that, and then we'll get there. Me and June had never got into harmony with there. We'd never gotten into any kind of ideas of our wants, where we wanted to go. We never started thinking, feeling, and acting and vibrating like the people who were living the life that we're living right now. We were looking at the hows and the means to get to the how, to get to the place, focusing on the how, not focusing on our true wants in life. And you're going to work with us on that this week. We're keeping nothing back from you guys. We're going to let you fully into the academy to see what we do on an ongoing basis. You're going to hear from we've like the best clients in the world. They're always supporting us and coming in and talking about their experiences. So you're going to hear it from them. You're going to hear it from the team, and you're going to hear it from our contributors as well, that this really works. And the truth of the matter is, every single person, Paul, Yvonne, Andrea, Sharon, Aoife, Anne, Lenehan, Paul, Norris, Sarah Doyle is there, Trish, like every one of you are using it all of the time. Every single one of you are using it all of the time. Some of you are not using it for yourself at the moment because you're not focusing on what you want. You're like where I was a few years ago, where I was focusing on, I need to get out of debt. What was I thinking? Debt. So I'm in harmony with the debt all the time, or I was. That's 35 years of that programming is hard to get rid of. And I'm 41 now in a few weeks' time. For the last 6 years, I've been continually working on reversing deep rooted and deep kind of, you know, the way if you look at a forest, there's these paths worn through the forest. It's like there's 35 years of a path worn through a forest. I'm trying over the last 6 years to create my own new path. So there are times that old habits come back, old feelings come back, old doubts come back, and that's okay. But because I've got a great team around me, because I have great mentors that guide me, and because I study the best material on the planet, my information that I read every morning, it gets me on a high vibration, and therefore I attract what I want my way. Last Wednesday morning, we were out and about. We had some wonderful clients from all over the country arrive down here to Valentia Island. They stayed in various Airbnbs in different places. And what they did was, we had a great way to start it off. We decided we'd face our fears and jump into the ocean, jumping off a working fishing pier, and jump into the ocean at 7 to 7:30 a.m., as you do on a Wednesday morning. Everybody started to realize that our wonderful executive assistant, Ernestine, she'd booked all of this, but she wasn't here standing in a swimsuit ready to jump in. How does that work out? But anyway, we'll get her next time. But we'd all jumped in. We'd all faced, some of us faced our fears, and we were buzzing on adrenaline. And we went up, we were having coffee and croissants and stuff. And I got an email saying, look, there's a little bit of doubt in the air about Bob coming on the masterclass. I was like, oh dear. And also last week, I couldn't look left or right. My neck was locked. But I was not going to let my physical pain and my little bit of disappointment from the email that morning ruin my vibration, because I have a vibration now that helps me to continue to get what I want. And today we had made the announcement Bob couldn't make it. We put in a wonderful lady to replace Bob. And then all of a sudden she couldn't make it. And then I just kept in the same vibration, and an absolute genius of a man called Arash rang me today. He's like, let's do it. Let's do it right tonight. I was like, I can't believe it. Thank you so much. But I can believe it, because I now live and work and sleep and have fun and cook in my dream home. From minus 35,000 back in 2015, when I signed up for Ticket into Results with my coach, to now, I mean, we've turned over $1 million in this company, and I also have other businesses that I'm working. Started one this year with like, what you call it, accommodation, real estate, property. There you go. I'm so like ingrained in it. I haven't even remember the name of the industry. But I have others that I really want to get involved in as well. The health business, nutrition. I want to have interest in lots of different areas. And I've learned from this year that, something like a pandemic can come along and it can take away one source of income. So I'm in the business now of creating multiple sources, whereby all of my team gets served very well, my family gets served very well, and my clients get served very well. And it's just a matter of making a decision. But I'm on harmony, and I'm vibrating at a level now that really, if I could have flown and gone into the future from 2015, I would not recognize the man sitting in this office talking this way, so effortlessly, such an authority on the subject. I was really looking over the fence, looking in, saying, I hope to God this works. This is like, I really think I just need somebody to kick me up the backside and not be investing, the last bit of credit money my wife has in her card. God, I'm such a waster. Am I, like, is this going to work? I mean, what am I doing? Like, investing in a program? I just need to get out and do a hard day's work. Like, it was all conflicting interest, but now I know it works, and I'm just never going backwards. Let's look at it that way. So what we're going to do now is we are going to say to you, I'm going to ask you a question. Let's type in the chat. Tell us some of the times that you really believe that you have attracted something into your life, that you just were thinking about somebody and they rang, or you just kind of knew you were going to win that competition on Facebook and you did, or you've been visualizing and getting this recurring dream, and then you found yourself in the dream. So let's type it in the chat, because it's going to be really good for everybody around you to see that law of attraction works, because a lot of us kind of keep it to ourselves, and they're like, I'm into, and they come to the seminars, they'd say, I'm really into this stuff as well. Like, I'm into it. I'm like, what does that mean? And they'd eventually open up and kind of go, all right, everybody in this room is into it. All right, cool. But then they go back to their familiar car and home to their familiar house with their familiar family. And then they keep the love of law of attraction, a little secret thing that maybe they'd listen to a podcast about in secret. Well, here you are. Look all around you. 243 like-minded people here listening to this. Like, open up. Let's start throwing out your results into the chat, because you're going to see that you're not alone in this, and most people are aware of it now. Most people are working with it, but you're going to start working it on a very, very high level, because I am going to show you how it worked. So how did it work? Well, I got very clear on what I wanted, first of all, and I would call myself a consultant now. So I consult with people on their goals. I challenge them on what they write down. I had a gentleman recently, and he wrote down a Rolex on his goal, and I called it out. I was like, what do you want a Rolex for? A little bit of a sneaky question, just to see did he really want it. My God, the way this gentleman described how life is going to be when he's wearing a Rolex, I was like, leave that in your goal. But if it was a shadow kind of a thing, I would have told him, take that out, because you don't really want it. You've got to want it. Now, when I wanted it, the formless substance, so you'll hear me talk about the universe, you'll hear me talk about God. Wallace Wattle says the formless substance or source. The formless substance receives a picture of your desires, and it allows this picture to penetrate across great distances and perhaps throughout the entire universe. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving towards its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and all of the things that have yet been uncreated are now stirred towards bringing into being that which you want. All force beings begin to be exerted in your direction. All things begin to move towards you. The mind of everyone everywhere is now influenced also towards doing the things that are necessary to fulfilling your desires. And it works for you unconsciously. So if you think of it, maybe you've seen that Jim Carrey movie, The Truman Show. He's walking along and everybody there is an actor. And it's like wherever he goes, they all play these roles. Sometimes it can kind of feel that way in a good way. When you're working towards a goal, you can see something just starting to appear, and then the phone rings and it's like, hey, this is happening today. Can you come? Can you come tomorrow instead? And you're like, hallelujah, perfect. We had a gentleman this year. He did our masterclass in August and became a client in September. And he had an investment property that he really wanted to see the closure of a sale going ahead or something to take place in Spain. But he'd also been working on a course, and the finals were on the same Saturday. So he had to be in Spain on Saturday. He had to be in Newry on Saturday. And he called me up, and I was actually driving my dad's van, and I was reversing the boat up because we were taking it up after the summer, putting it away for the winter. And he said, can I get on a call with you? I need your help. I said, yeah. Got on a call with him. And I said, all you've got to do is think about the result that you want. Get onto that vibrational level. And you're going to hear your old paradigm saying, it won't work, it won't work. That's the only way that you can guarantee it won't work, is if you let that silly inner voice take control. I want you to think about, what do you want the most? He says, I want to go to Spain. I want them to defer the course, because if I miss the course, it's on me. If they defer the course, it's on them. Within hours, he messaged me back, holy beep, this works. He got confirmed, the course in Newry postponed and cancelled until the new year, I think it was. And then he went to Spain and got everything sorted. And I think even his family were like, don't worry about going to Spain. It's not going to work out. And it all worked out. We have an amazing lady in our academy. And one of her boys was going to the school that they're going to this week, I would say. And her next little boy is due to go into the school as well. But she received an email to say something along the lines of, we didn't receive your application on time, so we don't have a position for your second boy. She called me up like, this can't be. I've done it right, but they've got it wrong. And I found myself being challenged again in this moment. I was like, oh my God, is this the right thing to do? And I never questioned it. I could feel a question coming up. And I remember I was literally on the other side of this wall. And I said to her, I said, listen, my dear, you go get their uniforms. You walk into the school together. You tell them they're going to be going together next year. You get the pencil cases and you write that letter from your heart. Don't challenge them. Don't be negative. Just tell them your case and send it in, and he will be going to that school. And that's what happened. You're going to find, listening to us all week, we're not going to be talking about flashy Ferraris and flashy jets and all that stuff. These will be the byproduct of the work that we do. You are going to see myself and my team over the coming months and years in exotic locations and driving nice things and building nice houses. But I love the personal stories in this. We're all going to leave this world very, very naked, and not a lot of possessions are going to go with us. They're lovely. I've been personally styled by somebody. I'm wearing expensive clothes. I have a nice car, a nice house. But I love to think of this fantastic woman in Dublin who's been taking care of her boy all of his life. He's taking care of himself too, but he's got special needs. And this woman has completed a book, and it is going to be published. And she has gotten herself an amazing deal with an amazing company that has over 160 outlets across the UK and Ireland. I think about a woman who's been taking care of for three girls on her own for years, and her business in the art world is just booming. She got to work with her hero this week, and she got to negotiate with the person who owns her home, and she now is going to be owning that home after Christmas. I just love the stories. We have a gentleman, he's like the heart of Ireland, Michael Cross. He's over there in Cork. I love to see this man coming onto our calls, meeting like-minded people. He can really be himself, and he talks about story after success going his way. To see my team, to see the clients flourish and just really wake up and live the life that you were all destined to live. that's why I'm here today. That's why I never quit and I never stop. And no matter what's happening, I always see it as an opportunity to grow. So let's get into this workbook, because this workbook is really vital for not just for now, but for the rest of your life. So let's get into this, okay? You're going to see on the very outside of the workbook. By the way, if you don't have your workbook, comment in the chat. Who's my success advisor? Because your success advisor is going to give you your workbook. It's a way for them to start the conversation with you as well, because you are going to need their help this week. You are going to have questions, and these guys have been handpicked by me. They've been with me a long time, and they're going to help you. So contact them, speak with them, even give them a little feedback and just say, my God, that was a rush today. Wow, or something, or Jesus, Declan's a bit strange, isn't he? Or whatever you want to say, just have a chat with them and get going. Get to know them. They're amazing people, and they are going to help you a lot this week. So here's the checklist at the beginning. You'll see that. So just tick off every day what you're doing. You're on the live with me now, and you're going to be watching myself and Arash's interview at 8 o'clock. Then we're going to get into page 1, and you're going to see it's called the winner self-image. So we're going to start filling this out together, okay? The self-image, you have an image that you hold inside of yourself. So my name is Declan O'Donoghue, but that's because my mom and dad picked my first name, and because my dad was a child of an O'Donoghue, he's an O'Donoghue. But that's only my name. I am is different to I am Declan O'Donoghue. I am and you are anything that you want to be. And my true self-image is who I am now. But I had an imposter, I had a liar living in my head for a long, long time. And that's why you saw me with my daughter in a really not a good place, because I listened to an inner voice that was telling me a lie. And you'll find people who listen to law of attraction or listen to somebody like me, and they're used to doubt, fear, worry, and anxiety and criticism and anger being their norm. So someone like me that says you can do anything you want, you can be anything you want, I'm threatening their present paradigm. They don't want to think that that's possible. Their paradigm wants to go, let's shut him up. Like, that's rubbish. Or I get some trolls on Facebook, and that's grand. I don't mind at all. They can stay with their results. I'm not going to stay with their results. My clients are not going to stay with the results. You're not going to stay with the results. You're here not because there's anything wrong with you. You're here because there's something very, very right with you. And you're listening to that inner voice that's telling you there's more to life than this. You can be more, you can do more, you can have more, you can give more. And it's okay to want more. It's not about greed. It's just about living the life that you're designed to live. It's not about possessions and money. It can be that if that's your goal. Okay, so let's get into page 1, a winner self-image. And let's write down why a lot of people don't experience life on their terms. First thing, most people go through their entire life without understanding self-image. So most people go through their entire life without understanding self-image and paradigms. And they never learn how to break free and create the results that they've always wanted and they've always deserved. So if you can't keep up with me speaking this, I would just recommend you go back and watch the video again, go to minute 42 and watch from there. Just write it down, minute 42 video. So most people go through their entire life without understanding self-image and paradigms. They never learn how to break free and create the results that they've always wanted and always deserved. So I want you to write this down. If you haven't written the first part, don't worry about it. You can go back and get it again. Where it says I'm making, I want you to write this down. I'm making a committed decision today. So write that down. I'm making a committed decision today that I am not going to end up like one of these people. I'm making a committed decision today that I am not going to end up like one of these people. There is nothing wrong with them. You're not better or worse than them. But if you want more, you cannot go forward from today with ignorance of how the self-image works, with ignorance of how paradigms work. You've got to learn how they work this week. That's because when you learn how to make them work for you, you are going to be in a different vibration all of the time. When you're in a different vibration, you will attract different things to you all of the time. Okay, next paragraph. You see, it's a cybernetic mechanism. So write that in there. It's a cybernetic mechanism. The image in the blankets, the image you hold of yourself. So the line goes, you see, it's a cybernetic mechanism, the image you hold of yourself. And it sets the boundaries in your life in every area. So the first two lines of the next paragraph, it says, you see, because it's a cybernetic mechanism, the image you hold of yourself sets the boundaries of your life in every area. The quality of relationships, the amount of money in the bank, your physical health, your position in the company you're working for, or the amount of income sources you might have. That's only because that's what your present self-image believes you deserve, or what you're capable of. But the truth is, you're capable of a lot of things, an amazing amount of things. So if you have a small image, write that in. If you have a small image, you build, and we need more space on this line for the next time we do this masterclass, but you build right in the bracket there a tiny box. Just write in a tiny box. It should be longer, but just put in a tiny box. A big or powerful self-image creates a larger box. So the next two lines are, if you have a small image, you build a tiny box. And if you have a big or powerful image, you create a larger box. But the last line down here is a self-image based on what you really want. A self-image based on what you really want, there is never going to be a box around you again. So write that on the bottom line, a self-image based on what you really want, and you're never going to be boxed in again. Okay, so a limited self-image gives you like limited amount of opportunity to grow. A bigger self-image, you're still putting a box around yourself. But when you create a self-image this week in our community, it's like, I'm going to create a big self-image. There's no box anymore. I'm going to create a brand new me. Okay, so let's go to the next page in the workbook. Now, if you're finding that we're moving along fast, don't worry. This is part of your work. I want you to listen to Arash tonight. And when you're finished, I want you to stay in your office, stay in your bedroom, and complete this worksheet before moving on. You're going to want to complete the worksheet because you're going to be given an extra 100 points towards the competition if you create the worksheet and take a picture and send it in to our group. So I'm going to give you all the homework at the end, and you're going to get time to go back and do the worksheet. So don't worry about it now if we're going too fast. It's important you do this tonight. So the masterclass, the vibration attraction masterclass, the next page, it says, the question is, are you caught in a, and it's vicious or beneficial cycle? Are you caught in a vicious or beneficial cycle? How can you learn to live the way you want to live? So in this page, this is part of your homework, so don't worry about it right now. What we want you to do is, and not just what we want you to do, how we get the results is the following. Write out all of the character traits you like about you. So that's the first paragraph on top. Write out all of the character traits you like about you. And then the next one, write out all of the traits you don't like about you. Okay, write out all of the traits you like about you, all of the traits you do not like about you. And the last one, and this is probably the most important one for today, because this is part of your homework, okay? Do you see here? It says, list and write down one person and one trait that you're going to incorporate into your new self-image. Okay, list and write down one person and one trait that you're going to incorporate into your new. Now, you're going to do 6 of them in total. So, for example, let's say on the top one, let's say if I said Dusan, who works in my company, and his trait is focus. So, I admire Dusan because of his focus. I admire, let's say, Laura, who is a chief executive of our company. And Laura, because of her, I think, her sheer guts and determination. Determination, or she's determined. Now, as you go down, it says, create an affirmation with each of your new 6 character traits that you're incorporating into your new self-image. Create an affirmation of each of your new 6 character traits that you're incorporating into your new self-image. And then you're going to write down, so I am focused. I am determined. I am confident, whatever. So I would pick, you could pick, if it's footballers you like, or movie stars that you like, or your grandparents, one of your 4 grandparents, and why. Write down their name. Why? What was it about them? What about these 6 people you admire and why? So write them down and then make them yours. Say, I am focused, I am determined, I am confident, whatever it may be. And then it says time to recite these. So I like the numbers 9, 3, 6, 9. I like those numbers from Nikola Tesla. So I would write down 9 in the morning. I'd write down 3 in the afternoon and 6 in the evening. And I'd set an alarm on my phone. And I would take this little piece of paper. I would leave it probably in the bathroom somewhere, leave it near the mirror in your bedroom, whatever. And then you go and you sit down at 12, or if you're at work, go to the bathroom. If you're driving, pull over and do it in the mirror of the car. And you're going to look into the mirror and you're going to say, I am focused. I am determined. I am confident. I am wealthy. I am time-free. I am free to do whatever I want. Write down whatever you want here about character traits. So I am disciplined. Even if you don't feel you're disciplined, remember you're leveraging someone else's discipline. You're taking someone else's character trait that you truly admire about somebody else, because these are things that you need to bring on to create your new self-image to get yourself to that next level. So as the week goes on, tomorrow we're going to be talking about getting off the roller coaster, and we're going to recap on the self-image. But as I said, go back to minute 40 and everything that I've mentioned the whole worksheet in those 10 minutes, minute 40 to 50. The repeat of this is going to be in this Facebook group, and our wonderful Jelena Bogdanovic is going to create a section called guides, and all of the videos will be in the guide section as well. So you can't miss it. Scroll forward to minute 40 and catch up with what's there. Now, last but by no means least, this is the homework, okay? So what we want you to do is complete the homework. So number 1, complete the full worksheet. That's number 1. Number 2, create your new self-image affirmation. Number 3, set reminders for tomorrow for 3 times in the day to read these affirmations into the mirror. And you're going to keep doing this all week. When you do this, your vibration is going to change. We see a lot of clients that attend our masterclass getting results that week. Stuff starts to happen straight away. They feel part of the energy in the group. They do the worksheets, and it really just gets them going in the direction they've always wanted to go in. So write it out, create your full new affirmation with your 6 character traits, and get after it. Now, Jelena is going to post a picture in the group, and it's going to say homework day 1. Now, under the homework day 1, if you want to get an extra 100 points for the competition, we want you to take a selfie, grab your phone and take a selfie of yourself with the homework done. And then also we want you to start sharing the link for our masterclass competition as well. Every time you share a link, we're going to be keeping an eye on that. And the winner is going to receive 3 outfits styled by the lady who was going to be our guest tonight, Shauna Cashel. So Shauna's got a wonderful company, and that company is called stylesearch.ie. And Style Search is going to find out, you're going to tell them your shoulder size, bust size, waist size, hip size, whatever. And you are going to tell them the style that you're looking for, the occasion you want it for. And they're going to send you links to the outfits and photographs of what it would look like on you. And then it's up to you to go and buy those outfits if you want. But that's a gift from our company to you for being part of the winner's self-image day 1 of our vibration and attraction masterclass. You see, you saw a self-image transformation in me. You heard me opening tonight's call. You saw me from 10 years ago, and you've seen me now again. That's a self-image transformation that happened using this magic wand, a pen. I wrote out this guy. I wrote out $1 million a year company. Now I'm writing out $1 million a month lifestyle. I'm no better or no worse than anybody that lives here in Valencia or Portmagee or County Kerry, or for that matter. I have the same doubts, fears, and worries as anybody else. I just have a lot more choices in life available to me, but I also have an awful lot more responsibilities. I've taxes and VATs and PRSIs and all these things that I never had to worry about when I had those other set of worries. But still in all, I have a lot of responsibility now. But I didn't. I dealt myself these hands now. You know, I've created the results that I want. I've written them down. I work with really amazing people to get there. So this is what I should. Oh, what should we share for the gifts? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, so we've also, so there's a main competition that's happening all week as well, and it's €750 worth of a 2-night stay in the Hotel Europe in Killarney. But when you go in to this competition, so why don't you guys share the link in the chat there if you've got it, please. Tracy, I love your attitude. She said, I am going to win. Well done, Tracy. She says, I am going to win. That's a great attitude. So type in, somebody send the link in here. Now, guys, when you go in to share the link, it's going to generate your own link. So that's the one you want to copy and paste, and you can put it on your own social media. Say, hey, everybody, I was on this masterclass tonight. It's just day 1. The rest of the week is still to come. And they'll click and they'll join and subscribe. And every time someone joins, you're getting like an extra 35 points towards it. And there's a leaderboard and everything like, so you'll see how it works. It's pretty cool. And I think many of you are here because other people have been sharing that link. So it's pretty cool how it works. Anne-Marie Hodnett says the bags are packed. So I think Anne-Marie and Tracy, you guys better get to know each other pretty quickly, because apparently you're both heading to the hotel. We have another competition coming up this week. If you stay and watch all of the workbook and stay with us all week, we're going to be doing another competition where you and I are going to head up in a helicopter together for 20 minutes. We're going to fly all over Killarney, fly over the lakes of Killarney, fly up near Carrantoul, fly over the mountains there. And we're going to do a coaching session at like, I don't know how many, 40 feet or something, 50 feet together. So that's really cool. I've never been in a helicopter before. We also have a family pass for a family of 5 to Tato Park another evening. So we've got great competitions coming up. The overall big competition, which will be, the draw will be done on the, well, not the draw, the person who's in first place on the 3rd of September, they're the person that is going to the Hotel Europe in Killarney, 2 nights accommodation. It's 5-star hotel. It's incredible. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's just incredible. People, I mean, the afternoon tea alone is just like living in luxury. So yeah, we got some great prizes coming up. This is the type of vibration. This is the type of self-image. We want you to be, people that think on that level, you know. Yeah, I went for an old helicopter flight there with this fella down in Kerry. I'm an SNA making any more money. It's not an option in my role, but all I want is to buy a house. Okay, Diane Berrigan, I love what you've said. If all you want is to buy a house, then stop saying it's not an option in your role, because you just don't know how. You're not responsible for the how. You've got to get very clear on what you want. Like I have been responsible for putting together and organizing very clearly in my heart and in my mind and on paper what I absolutely wanted in life. But it was the great universe, the great God, the great creator that put all the hows in my way. Like my phone actually did not ring today when our amazing guest Arash, who's joining us pretty soon. In fact, I can just see him popping into the back office here. I was actually clearing out my car after taking my wife and kids to the beach yesterday. I realized that we'd left some stuff in the car. I was taking it out. I was vacuuming the car. And I just checked my phone, and Arash's name was across the screen. I said, hello. And he's like, I can do this call tonight for you. I could have missed the call, but something got me to take the phone out of my pocket and look at the phone. It wasn't ringing. I was actually listening to Bob. I was listening to an old video of Bob's, actually, just to keep myself in that vibration, an old affirmation that he gave me that I listened to over and over. So we got news that we weren't going to have a guest speaker. Then I said, I'm not going to let that take my energy down. I'm going to stay in a high vibration. I started listening to the affirmation, and he pops up. So I would say again, what's that lady's name? Yeah, Dion, if you're an SNA and if you're making a certain income, stop saying that it's not an option to buy a house. It's not up to you. The how is not up to you. Just get clear on the house that you want. Create a vision board for the house that you want. Start going out and visiting places that you want to live in. Go to certain locations. Walk from the front door of your favorite house that you find. Walk to the nearest store. Buy some purchases and come back and pretend you're walking back to that house. We have a couple that did that in London last year. They also have now left that house and they've moved to Devon as well. So this happens a lot. My wife and kids and I, we had birthdays in this field before it became a house. We had Valentine's Day here in this field before it became a house. We had tea parties when it was just foundations, and we set up tables and chairs and the whole lot. So you got to get into that. Remember, this is called the Vibration and Attraction Masterclass. So let's just prune away and edit out those results that it's not an option. It is, and it can be. But I love your question. Okay. All right. So let's go through. Very, very good. Okay, so that brings us to the end of day one, but stay on with me now because I'm about to bring through a very, very special guest. Many of you have heard me speak about Arash on this very call this evening. Back when I really didn't have a lot of money, I needed a specific type of person to show up in my life. And I'm very, very grateful always to God for putting a certain individual on the phone that first evening. The way I was dealt with and the way I was treated with such dignity and respect has put this man in front of you here. In fact, when I spoke to this gentleman, I was probably in those sweatpants with that scruffy beard and not a lot of hope in my heart, a very defeatist type of a mindset. Probably used every bit of strength I had to talk to another man on the phone to try and put some bravado into it, but I was pretty beaten down at the time. And this gentleman, I don't know, he just saw something in me. I got to thank him one day in person in Toronto. And I went across, and he was surrounded by an amazing team of people, just the energy of confidence exuding from these people. But I still went in because I had to thank this man face to face for what he'd given, the opportunities he'd given me and my family to live the life that we live now. And I says, how can I ever repay you? And he says, just pay it forward. So I do endeavor to help my colleagues and to help my clients beyond, we'll say, our contracts or anything like that. Well, I do, and it's with his leadership and guidance that doing more than's expected of you, leaving people with an impression of increase, which it was no surprise when I was feeling a bit sad, started listening to an affirmation, and to see his name pop up on the phone a few short hours ago and say, I'm going to be there for you and your clients. It was no surprise. So without further ado, let's bring the main man himself on, Mr. Arash Visagi. Here he goes. Good evening, Arash.
Hey, Declan, how are you?
I'm well. All the better for seeing you and seeing your phone number pop up today, and for seeing your phone number pop up back in 2015 as well, when I was a little bit stuck. Arash, we are really lucky to be in the presence tonight of a lot of people who I think they're in probably a couple of places. They could be in a place of desperation, perhaps, or they could be in a place of inspiration and looking for something new. Today, we've been touching on the concept of the self-image, Arash, and this was something I remember. I knew you knew what you were talking about. I could feel it from you, the confidence, and I wanted some of what you had. But Arash, I had absolutely nothing, as you remember, that I could, invest in myself or get working. So can you explain a little bit about how someone goes from that level of a self-image to where you have gone in your career, or you see people have these transformations that I have as one of your clients over the years? How does this all work, Arash?
It's a great question. I think all of us can relate to that starting point. I just heard a little bit before I came on of what you were sharing, but I was there too. I mean, I think when I look back at me, when I first started this, I was $150,000 in debt starting over 3 weeks before I was getting married. And there was some part of me that had a little bit of hope. And I think hope gives us options, like even when you got on that call with me, you had some type of hope, or else you wouldn't even got on that call, and that's all you need. I always tell my clients, I just need a sliver of desire and I can show you how to bring it out. And really, for the people right now who are stuck, for the people who are struggling, I promise you, it'll get better if you stick with it. However, it is absolutely essential you borrow Declan's belief. You borrow my belief. You borrow the people who've already been there. Because there's always a way forward when we look for people who are living the way we want to live. And, the great part of it is anybody can tell me where they're at. And I can tell them, when you make a decision that I am going to change my life, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know where it's going to come from. I have no confidence, which I don't believe anyone has no confidence, by the way. I don't think that's actually a real thing. You're just not confident because you're letting the outside control the inside. But once we get that reversed, that's when our life changes. So to answer your question, really in a few words, it's just borrowing someone else's belief that did it.
Yeah, borrowing someone else's belief. And for you, it was Bob and other mentors like that?
For me, it was Bob. I mean, I had been studying this information for 3 years and nothing had changed. And Bob and I had a mutual acquaintance who got us on the phone. And we're so grateful for him. Neither of us talk to him anymore, but he connected us. And Bob said, I told Bob, I said, I've been studying this for 3 years, but nothing's changed. He says, you don't know this, you know about it. All I have to do is look at your results, And I realized at that moment that this man had something that I didn't have, no matter, like I could have talked about some of these concepts from an intellectual level, but I didn't have it in my heart. It wasn't like from a visceral place where what Bob showed me, and I'll never forget it. He said, this isn't hard work. You just got to do what I tell you. And he said, if you give me a year, I'll show you how to transform your life. And that's what I did. I realized from my image that I was doing things that I was comfortable with, and Declan, I hadn't talked to you really in depth for a few years, but, I told Bob last summer, I said, I figure out the key to this. Most people are coachable up to their self-image, which you're talking about here today.
Yes.
He said I said the true outliers, the true 1%ers who really make transformation, surrender to the process of being coachable no matter what. Not what I'm comfortable being told to do, but where I'm uncomfortable. And I'll tell all of you this, self-image is very close to my heart. You don't change until your image changes. Okay. And I used to think self-image was this weakness, like, oh, I have a self-image issue. Now I look at it as like a trophy. I get to take my image to that next level and the next level. So really create a great relationship with what self-image is and what it can do.
And like tonight now, the guys have got a pretty extensive workbook for day one. They're going away creating an affirmation. So you said to the beginning, kind of leverage my belief in these people. Like often we'll have people who say, look, they'll email me their goal. I'll read through it. And I can kind of tell that they don't really, really believe it. And I say, look, that's okay for now. Let's work together for a few weeks till your belief starts to grow. But just believe in my belief in your goal, in my belief in you. And we get there after a while. But so, Arash, in that short while of, would you say it's the environment? Like what's changing their self-image? Why in a few weeks' time have they changed and they can accept these goals as possible? Like the person that writes it doesn't really believe it, but after a few weeks they start to believe it then, and then they start to see the results. What happens to the person?
Oh, well, they start accepting the idea. Right now they're accepting an idea that they don't know that won't work. They're doing it based on past beliefs, past choices, past action. I've tried this before, it's never happened. Yes, but have you tried it with the right image? Have you tried it with the right direction? Have you tried it with the right attitude? Have you tried it with the right discipline? That's a game changer. And what happens is when you do an affirmation and you repeat it over and over again, you start believing it. And then once you accept the idea, it's done. That's our job. Our job is just to accept it, to get out of its way and start living from that exact frequency of what it is. So any goal, Declan, that I've told you about, anything, I say, let's just simplify it, right? Let's just get to the image of what we want. We just have to match that image. And what I like to do is dummy down everything. Like any goal that I set, my first question is, who is the person I need to become? Well, basically what I'm saying is what, Declan, you've been teaching about today. What is the image that I need to engulf inside of me to achieve that goal? Then it becomes very predictable.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I experienced that, and I experienced that from Arash as well, because I started out on this business just by myself, and then this amazing lady called Laura came into my life and really put a lot of order into let's just say she put order into the business and into this presenter as well, your host this evening. But we started to get very, I used to be on the phone with you, Arash, and you could say, like, now you're starting to really work it like a business. Now you're really starting to get clear. But I was in harmony previously with disorder and disharmony, and I was like creating order out of chaos, but the chaos had to be there first. But then you just got rid of all that. Like, so what would you say to people? Like, I've seen my self-image transform because I've created something new, but I've also let go of some things. How do people let go of things? Because I think a lot of people would say, I'm not Arash, I'm not Declan, I'm not Declan's team, they don't know who I really am. Like, what would be the best advice you give to people, to Arash, to start letting go of some of the things that some of these bad habits and these bad character traits that they think they can't let go of?
Okay, sure. That's a great question. Number one, there's two things you got to ask yourself. Am I committed to the freedom, or am I committed to the suffering? If you choose the suffering, it takes just as much energy to choose the freedom. And mindset is everything. 95 to 97% that I've discovered is all mindset. 3 to 5% is strategy. The only thing you've got to do is say, this is what I'm doing going forward. Yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow doesn't matter. All we have is right now. What you're creating right now with those new goals that you're sending Declan, that's what your future self is going to thank you for. Now, what's happened to this point, you can't control. You can't do anything about it, so you have to let it go. The one thing I will tell you that is very common between high achievers is they let go of their wins fast, they let go of their losses fast. The people who struggle hold on to their losses. They say, oh, I remember when I did this, so I can't do it. You want to start letting things go within a millisecond. When you come from a neutral place, say, this is what I'm going to do from this point on. Make today day one, okay? Make it like this is day one, not someday in the future. I'm going to plan. But you've got to, this is such a dichotomy. Yeah. You've got to be really super kind to yourself, but hold yourself to a standard, okay? and they're not very different. You know, when you hold yourself to a standard, you're saying, I'm doing this and I'm saying no to everything else. So let's say in terms of letting go, that I'm saying I'm living at my goal and I'm saying no to everything else. Well, can I do it? Okay, that's not in harmony with my goal. So I let that thought go on like a car on a freeway. Okay.
Mm.
So you say no to everything that's not that image. You say no to everything that's not that attitude. And you'll bring everything up to your standard, and then it starts becoming, all this is a game. Okay. And confidence is a game, but confidence, you earn it every day through the thoughts, through the actions, through your environment, you know, and I could see it it doesn't matter where somebody is. I always tell them that, you know, because I promise you, if you're serious about really changing your life, you can do it.
Yeah, Bob, as you mentioned, you were both lucky to meet each other. He was very lucky that you came into his life as well, because you've really helped an awful lot of people, Arash. And that is true. You know, you were not in harmony with my old paradigm that day we first spoke. You said to me, it doesn't matter where you are. And I just said, but I said, you're this gentleman in America, totally unrelatable. And I know you're 150 in debt, but you're not in debt now. I still am. You can't relate to me, but that's the truth of it is, you know, you were no better or worse than me. You just were living a different life and a different level of awareness. Arash, how does your morning routine compare now to the gentleman that you were when you first started studying this information, 150 in debt? I think you had a few more pounds on board as well. I think.
Yeah.
How does your routine differ?
Oh, it's quite different. You know, when I was studying this when I was all at that point, you know, so it wasn't because I wasn't trying. I just didn't have the right direction. I wasn't studying in the right order. But I mean, you know, anybody who's followed me or who gets coached by me, you know, number one, non-negotiable, my morning routine, how you start your day is how you own your day. 5 a.m. First thing I do is I work out. First thing, you know, usually it's about 30 to 45 minutes, you know, then I auto suggest my goal right after my workout. I do it right after because you have all this energy, you know, and auto suggestion, if you guys don't know what it is, it's a suggestion from yourself to yourself. And I do it in front of the mirror, but I know I have to get in the emotion of it. And I'm sure you've talked about it. The emotion is what's going to connect you to your source and really get you moving. Anyway, so I'll play music while I'm doing the auto suggestion. Then I do gratitude. Now I do it 2 times of gratitude. I do it when I first wake up and I do it right after. And then I do 20 I am statements. This will go in perfect harmony with what you've taught, because when I'm doing 20 I am healthy, I am powerful, I am wealthy, I am strong, I am loving, I am lovable, I am courageous. What I'm doing is I'm improving my image.
Yeah.
You know, this year I'm going to earn more than I've ever earned in my life by a significant amount. And I'm still constantly working on my image. So I promise you, it's a strength. It's not a weakness of what you guys are learning. And you want to really follow this man. He's one of the nicest men I've ever met, you know, and he's very honest and he's very vulnerable, and he'll help you quite a bit.
No, thanks, Arash. Thanks a lot. And you know what? We're going to give people an opportunity to have a morning like that with Arash, because my wonderful team, and Arash, you'll see this as well. Like I used to say to you, I can't build a team. And even though I knew how this works, I would talk to Arash. It's like, you've got such a great team. How can I build a team? Because I worked by myself for myself since 2005, and I really wanted to create a team. I wanted to create financial freedom for people in their lives as well. And I'm starting to see that now, thanks be to God. You know, it's going great. But at the time, you got me to read certain books and all that, but I had to actually do the work on myself. Like, I had to write down, I am a leader, I am a great listener, I take action. If there's a grievance, we sort it out straight away, and we're experiencing that now. But the morning routine is vital, guys. And this team came to me at Christmas time, and they wanted to give more service to the clients, and they came up with an idea of the 6 a.m. club. So every morning, from Monday to Friday, now we've missed Monday because this morning is gone, but tomorrow tomorrow at 6 a.m., anybody in this masterclass, you have an opportunity to join our 6 a.m. club for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning to experience what the clients experience. They wake up together. They don't wake up together. They wake up and they study together on Zoom. It's silent study, but there is an accountability and a togetherness that you are in a really good routine. Now, as you get, more experience in this, you probably will go off and develop your own practice like I have in the morning and Arash has in the morning. But this is a great way to get started on changing that self-image and doing those auto suggestions. I'll make one final point, Arash. That's what really got me thinking. When I spoke with you, you started telling me about your routine. And I think a lot of people, you'll see some of the most successful people in Bob's company, they go up on stage and they tell the audience, do the work, do the study, do the worksheets, do the workbooks, watch the videos, do the repetition. What's the advice you would give to our viewers here about having a full-time body of work and mentorship and guidance throughout their lives?
Yeah, mentorship never ends. We all have blind spots, so it's critical. The ideas work if you work the ideas. The challenge is a lot of people study this as a hobby, or they study it from scarcity or fear instead of from their goal. Once you get the mentorship, they direct you and they teach you not what to think, but how to think. That's what people are missing. It's not like I needed to tell Declan what to think. I never did. No. I was kept working with him on how to think. Think with a standard, think with a certain intensity. We used to always talk about that. So, but I will tell you, and you want to burn this in your guys' mind. If you work the ideas work. Success is very predictable, but you got to do the work. And in the beginning, you're not going to have the confidence. You're not going to have the understanding. But in 2 weeks, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is so hard not to do. Just waking up at 5 a.m., for you guys, 6 a.m., but if you did the morning routine that I have done for a number of years, it is going to increase your self-image right away. You're already got all these wins to start your day.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Arash, again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you've done over the last number of years for myself and June and my family, but also for just showing up today and just popped out like that. It was so interesting how it happens. I'm not surprised at all, but I'm really grateful. And from everybody who's been tuning in as well, they were so excited when I told them you were joining us, especially the guys in my team. They're like, we like you, Declan, but Arash is amazing. I was like, come on, I'm okay with that too. Yeah. But listen, thank you for always being there for us, Arash, and for coming on and this wonderful opportunity, as Susan Cronin says here. Love this opportunity to experience this knowledge from Arash. So I agree. And thank you very much. And I look forward to you blasting right past that goal you're talking about this year.
That's right. My pleasure. I wish all you guys all the best.
Okay. Thanks a million, Arash. Okay. So what a treat that was, guys. And just to remind you, everybody make sure and you get in that 6 a.m. club. Set that alarm, get up. I would actually get up at 5, go out for a walk, go do something. If it's, make sure you're safe. You got your high-vis vest on, your torch, but really turn it on this week. This is a great opportunity. I'm really proud to say myself and the team have put us in a position where we're in like the top percent, like 0.04% of the people in the world achieve what we've achieved. We know what we're doing. We're very good at it. And I think we're doing it in a very, very good way, in a very clear and honest way. So listen to what we're telling you. There is a lot in this first day, in this workbook, but it's not about me. It's not for me. It's not for the team. It's not a chore. This is your future self will thank you for these couple of words that you've got to get a bit uncomfortable with and write down and read in the mirror. And I want to see all 250 of you back tomorrow night. And I don't want to see those numbers dropping as the week goes on. Remember, keep it here. You've registered for a reason. This group was only created purely for this masterclass, and you decided to join us. So stick at it every evening from 7 to 8:30. Again, if you're watching the replay, type replay and let us know, and we will help you throughout the week and look forward to announcing these prize winners. Okay, so tomorrow morning, you've got the 6 a.m. club, and the guys will post the link on how you can join that. Please be respectful. Our clients have invested to work with us. This is it's like going into the college and the university, or, you're going into like a study zone and a work zone. So please be respectful when you get on the call. Keep your cameras off, keep your mics off until you're asked maybe to share something by one of the hosts, and just do your study, do your work, start writing out your new goal, start writing out your new life. And tomorrow and the day after, you're going to feel like you've never not had this in your life. This is going to become part of your life very quickly, this new information and the way we study. You're going to love it. And I just want to say thank you very, very much, Fred. Thank you for your comments here. Fred Gallagher said thanks to me and Arash. Well, thank you for being here. You put yourself here. And Sinead Tobin, good to see you there. Katrina is here with us. Alfred, my caricaturist, isn't it? Thank you so much, Alfred. Dusan's on in the morning. Is it Dusan, I think? Georgie, thanks for being here. And Claudia. So Callista says, can we have an example of auto suggestion? Callista, I'll give you my favorite auto suggestion. My days are long and slow and filled with precious moments where I find myself so grateful for all the blessings in my life. That's one sentence in my whole goal. My days are long and slow and filled with precious moments where I find myself so grateful for all the blessings in my life. Last week, I was talking to a client, and the 2 dogs that we got 2 Jack Russell puppies a couple of weeks ago, and they were fighting over a bone. And I was dealing with the situation with the client. there was stuff going on I could see outside in the construction of the building. And I had this moment where I was so grateful for these puppies and just for the fun. They were just so seriously fighting with each other. There's times where, you know, I could find myself swimming yesterday and just like, thank you so much, God. Like, thank you so much, universe. Like, thank you. So my days are long and slow. I started my morning at 5 and I'm still buzzing here at 7:30, whatever it is. I'm going to put my kids to bed now, and it's the first day of school tomorrow. So myself and my wife will be getting uniforms ready, and we'll have some, you know, time together, and then I go to bed and get up again at 5. My days are long. They're very slow. I used to just pray for the end of the day so I can get out of the restaurant I was working in, or pray for the Friday so I could go out and drink pints, you know. I used to wish my life away. Now it's my days are long and slow and filled with precious moments where I find myself so grateful for all the blessings in my life. That's an example of auto-suggestion. It's a suggestion I made to myself. Who asked that great question? Callista. I asked that question to myself, Callista, and now it's my life. Now I see it all around. And the thing about that is it helps you to know that I'm so happy and grateful now that me and the team are running a company that earns over €1 million every single month. I'm able to do this with charity. I'm able to do that with this. And, you know, I talk about what I would do. I'm so happy that I get to send money to my team and you know, charities and different things like that. That's an auto-suggestion, but it's a self-suggestion that doesn't overwhelm me because I believe it works because the other one has worked. So it could be anything. I'm so happy and grateful. I wake at 4 to 5 every morning and I'm up right on time. I'm so happy and grateful now that I wake at 5 o'clock every single morning. I wake up energized and fresh and ready to take on the day. That's an auto-suggestion. And sure enough, you'll wake at 5 to 5, 4:55 a.m. You'll wake. It's mad how it works, but it works. Okay, so tomorrow morning and tonight, do your worksheet, look in the mirror, say your new 6 I am affirmations that Arash talked about. And somebody said, what does D and C mean at the end of the worksheet? It means a decision, committed decision. Decision, committed decision. You got to make a decision, and you got to make a committed decision, not just a loose decision. It's like, I'm into that stuff. A decision that you're going to make this work for you all of the time, that you're going to read those affirmations all of the time as well, and create a new winner's image. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how I and you get off those roller coasters where there's ups and downs and ups and downs. Arash said it there this evening. I forget about the wins and I forget about the losses. I don't, as Bob says, don't drink your own bat water. Like, he doesn't read the praise letters. You changed my life. You know, I did say that to Arash because I like to say that in front of people because he did, but I could tell he was a little uncomfortable with that. We move on. We say, you know, okay, I did well. I can do the next thing. We do reward ourselves and we're grateful for the wins. But we move on to the next thing because there's more growth and more flourishing to happen as well. So everybody, thank you for being here. We're just short of the 1.5 hours that we promised. So that's pretty cool. We're finishing early, a new self-image, a new paradigm. Everybody, thank you so much. In advance, I'm going to hear there's 100 people on the 6 a.m. club. I know it. I think there's an amazing thing happening here this week. Thank you so much for being here with us. Talk to your success advisor. Have chats with them throughout the week. And let's get cracking. Let's have a really, really good week together. Okay, bye, everybody.